Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Convos with a Cast. My name is Brandon Whipple, and today I am joined by a very special guest. You may have seen him in a couple teasers, but it is Hayden Harvey himself, Thomas Rudden. Thomas, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I'm good. Happy to be here. Happy to be
Awesome.
Hayden too.
We'll get into that later. I just had a couple more general questions. How's schooling going?
We're
We
in
go to the
school.
same school.
We
I
go to
just,
school.
that's what it fucking feels like. Am I right?
Yeah. Mentally, I dropped out a year ago,
Hmm.
but we're still enrolled. We're chugging along. Maybe gonna get a few W's. I wish they were for a win. Probably gonna withdraw from my philosophy class. But those are my updates. I hate it. The best part of school is like hanging out with you all and like filming stuff and like doing things on the side. And so I feel like this is just the hard work part that we're still doing.
Yeah, definitely. Because you're a theater major. Are you taking a lot of theater classes this semester, or did you just do a bunch of like
No,
Zooms?
I had a kind of horrible experience last semester doing a play on Zoom. Three Sisters
Mm.
was a whole shit show. So this semester I decided that I wasn't gonna pay to act online. And so I'm getting my
Mhm.
GEs done.
Okay,
And
that's good.
yeah, very fun.
For those who don't go to USCGs, like general education. It's like the required classes outside of your major. That's also what I'm doing. How many are you taking?
Four.
Okay,
And then I'm taking my fifth class is stage lighting. But I'm in like philosophy, stat, chem, and another one.
okay. I am in a class called the Water Planet where we just study water, and it is kicking my ass.
Oh no.
Luckily, we don't have a midterm or anything, so that's nice.
You're just gonna drown during the final, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. The final is just a swimming test.
Yeah. They're just gonna flop you in the deep end.
You know, um, yeah, definitely online schooling is awful. I do not. I don't recommend.
Agreed. And then it also, I feel like guilty saying that because we're like so privileged to go to a school and like get an education, but then we're like,
Mhm.
meh, I'm in my house and I'm learning. Um, but honestly, I do not learn from my bed or my room. Like I
Yeah,
can't. I have ADHD in the classroom, and so like when I can go on my phone or not take a lecture, that's what I'm gonna do.
yeah. For me, learning in the classroom's hard enough, and
Exactly.
it's like when it's online, it's just screen, and like I have all these distractions just around me. It's like it's so hard to stay focused, and I mainly just find myself just dicking around on my phone while the lecture is going on because like three
Same,
out of my four
same.
professors don't require the camera to be on, so I'm like whatever.
I probably
Um,
remember the TikTok I watched during class more than the lesson that was taught, but that's okay.
I'll remember like the weird tweet I sent out. Um, I guess the first question I prepared is: can you tell audiences a bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm from Norwalk, Connecticut. I'm a sophomore at USC and I'm studying theater. Growing up, I loved gymnastics, theater, soccer, all that jazz. What are some fun things? I know how to ride a horse. I look very tough, I'm
What?
sure. I do, yeah. So for the season finale, we're having a whole like Revolutionary War
Oh
like
yeah.
model. You know what I do? We're having a whole fight. I'll be on
Mhm.
horseback for that. Be perfect.
Only one on horseback. No one else knows how.
Correct. So I'll just run them all over.
Yeah.
Um, what else? I love music. My favorite bands are the 1975 and the Smiths, and Fleetwood Mac. Those are my favorite. I like to make art. I like to like paint and draw and do all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Hell yeah. How did you get into acting?
So my sophomore year of high school, I had just played trumpet in the pit for a musical, and I was like, "Oh, that's what I want to do up there." So the next play, I came and I auditioned, and it happened to be an improv show, which in retrospect was good to like get that experience, but it was kind of like being dropped into the deep end, like we were talking about,
Hmm.
because I just was like, theater is absolutely batshit crazy. Like literally my first rehearsal ever, like it was totally improv, and I remember playing a cop and a mom at the exact same time, like flipping back and forth and just like doing stupid shit in voices, and I loved it, and I was addicted from the start. So we had like a whole improv show that we turned third grader stories into like mini plays, skits. It was
Oh,
called
that's
Story
awesome.
Pirates. Yeah, and then we performed it for them, and they like flipped out. That was the best show I've ever had. We went back to the elementary school, St. Mary's in Connecticut, and we like performed for them. And like the girl that we did like 8 stories, but one of the girls that it was her story, she like cried, was like, "Those are my characters," and just like freaked out. Loved it. It was so fun.
See, I had a almost similar experience when we had our first Hayden Harvey meeting in, was that February? Fuck,
Indeed.
that was February.
Oh my god.
And I just remember like seeing everyone there and like, these are the characters I wrote. This is fucking crazy. And in all my other projects, I never really had that. I was like, yep, that's the character. But for whatever reason, seeing you all together was so fucking just not jarring, but it was like, this is insane.
Yeah,
Like
it
this
was like
show's actually happening.
taking a step back, seeing the
Mhm.
collective and like the scale. It was sick. And I also loved there's so many projects in the works that like are in the same universe and like overlap
Mhm.
that like that was what I didn't anticipate when we had that first meeting, how many people were involved and like how many people I knew outside just from class and like seeing them and thinking, oh, like we're in a show together, got you. That's
Mhm.
sick. So that was good. I remember that meeting vividly. It was really fun.
And I don't know.
And I
I guess
was
I was
late.
gonna,
I was literally late for
you
that. I
you
remember I
were
was
late.
so I don't know why I was late. I just factored in no time to get there and I was like I like was like sprinting.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember who, I don't remember who the first person there was. It might have been,
Alyssa. That'd be
no,
my
she was
guess.
she was kind of late too. I remember she's gonna like
Good.
listen to this
Yeah,
and
no,
text
she's
me,
gonna
what the
like
fuck? No, I
yeah.
wasn't.
I was just saying she's gonna know we're shit talking on her. Who would be first? Not Ryan.
He was actually fairly early, if I remember correctly.
I'm shocked. Was he awake? And did he like roll in?
I'm pretty sure he was
Was he sober?
intoxicated. I'm sure.
No.
No, definitely
No
not. But
fucking
it's
way.
fine. Oh, I love that man. Ryan plays Zach Brooks for. Wait, yes, Zach Brooks for anyone listening. I'll get
Ryan is
him
the
on this show.
character, yeah, you love to hate.
Definitely. Um, so I'm jumping around to different topics right now, but we are recording this on the day that the Hayden Harvey Zoom teaser has released, and it's also the day that episode 1 was supposed to come out.
Oh,
Yeah, so we would have
it's
been
like
like,
I want to celebrate the teaser and like be happy for that, but it's heartbreaking that this would have
yes,
been the first episode.
and because we would have started filming in August, and we would have been like going hard for like a couple months, and then now the episodes start coming out, and we probably would still be filming, right? It's hard to predict because we haven't really shot anything together yet. Like we shot a couple things, but those are like
Yeah, those are
minor,
small.
and so it's kind of hard to predict where exactly we would be right now. But if I could compare it to something, so I shot and did DKs this past summer, and altogether it was
Woo! Everyone go watch the K's.
hell yeah. We announcement about that coming soon, actually. Or actually, it will have come out by the time this podcast comes out. We're releasing the director's cut at the end of the month,
That's sick.
so that's pretty exciting. But altogether, it's about 90 minutes, and the script for season 1 of Hayden Harvey is about, it'll, converting to runtime, it'll be a little over 2 hours. And so it
A
took us
nice
about,
little feature film,
yeah, I know.
casually.
And it took us about a month to shoot all of DK's. And so I'm anticipating maybe 1 to 3 months for Hayden Harvey. Because I
It
have,
will happen.
it will,
The
absolutely.
calendars are marked. Coming.
I guess we could also talk about this. Hold on, I might check. Okay, I guess so the show was almost canceled.
Yeah.
Fully.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. We're
And
talking to you post-mortem from the grave.
yep,
There's no
the show's done.
show.
Yep, that's what this podcast is here to announce. The show is canceled.
We're dead.
No, but back because the because we were still going forward with the October release plan once COVID kind of took over. Like, okay, well, we'll probably be back in school during the fall. We'll have to do like precautions and everything when filming, but we could get this done. And then USC said, "Hey, actually, you just stay home. The fall
Yeah.
is going to be online
So
too."
actually, can we get your check and then y'all leave? You never come back. That's what they did.
Yeah, and so I was like, "Oh, fuck." I was like, "That's fine. We could just push back to our current date, which I don't want to reveal yet, and then we'll be fine." But then as we draw closer to when we're going to start filming, it becomes much more clear that spring might also be online just because nothing's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, then we could just delay to later in the year. But then by that logic, we would be so Hayden Harvey is going to be a 3-season arc. That hasn't been said anywhere. Big announcement there. 8 episodes each. Actually, the final season is going to be 10 episodes. I lied. And so by pushing it back to late 2021, we would be filming into 2024, which is the year where after most of the cast will be graduated already. So I was like, let's see if this will work. I don't know, because but before coming on that plan, I was like, if spring is online, we're probably just gonna have to cancel, because, and I think I talked to you about this before, but I will not do the show unless it's the full 3-season arc, because it just feels weird if it's not. And so I was like, fuck, if spring's online, we're canceling. And then I was like, no, I want the show to happen. We're gonna make this happen. And so I reached out to the cast, like, hey, if we had to film it in 2024, would that be cool with you? And most everyone said, yeah. We did lose one cast member, unfortunately. But right now the show is going on either way.
And I think that COVID and like the shifting of the schedule kind of lit a fire under our asses to make it.
Oh yeah.
And I know that like we can't predict how long like production will take, but I do think that like finally getting back to it after all these months off will like make this one like go fast and not stop working and get it all done. So I have faith in the future and that it's getting made. But it was scary. It was you sent me the message and I was like, oh, it's gonna die. Like
Mm-hmm.
we are working on a dead project. But I'm so glad that everyone doubled down their focus and their commitment and just was like, yeah, I was a part of this. I want to make it. It's gonna happen, and it will.
Absolutely. And I think because I created because I'm a busy bee. I need to be doing something. So I created a plan C if the show gets canceled, because there's a lot of characters in the show and in its spin-off. So I was like, I can't abandon these characters. I want to do something with them. So I created a whole plan C, and literally every character was present except Hayden Harvey, because that it's like, because, and then audiences will get
It's
to
because
know
you don't
more
like
about
me. I know you
it.
hate
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just gave you the lead in the show because I hate you.
Yes.
um and because he's such a big character and he needs his own show, I feel. And so it was very
Oh
sad to
yeah.
make that plan C, as I called it, and to not have Hayden in it. I was like, well, if worst comes to worst. But nope, the show's happening no matter what. We have to recast everyone. And I've been working on this show since, I want to say 2019, like very early 2019. It was like high
It was
school was
in
wrapping up.
labor. It
Yep.
was in late. It's been in labor for months. It's gonna be in labor for
Mm-hmm.
about 2 years, and it'll be born. A
Yes,
late
it's
term baby.
going to be amazing. Because it was at the end of high school was winding down, and the show I was working on then was winding down. I was like, okay, time to start looking forward to the future. So what can I do? And so then I came up with the concept for this show. And Hayden Harvey he had a very not catchy name right away.
What was it? What was my original name?
It was Hayden something. I don't know, just for filler, Hayden Smith or some shit. I don't know.
Hayden Smith.
And I was like, that's fine, that's cool. Hayden's a cool name. And then as I was going forward, developing the other characters, Alyssa's character Avery, and not you, Alexa. No. And I created her name. And it was Avery Harvey. I kind of sat there. I was like,
Dang.
wait a
I
minute.
like that.
So then I gave Hayden the Harvey last name. Like, there it is. Hey, that was back in like if I go through my photos, the very first rendering of the Hayden Harvey logo is from April 2019. So that's pretty crazy. And then even when I went to orientation, I was like half, oh, this is my school. And then half, all right, who do I need? Who can be in the show? Like I was scouting pretty early.
I was gonna say because I remember meeting you in our 125, Rita Heinrich, and it couldn't have been a few weeks into school. It was really early, and you were like, "Would you want to be in a show?" And I was like, "Say less, I'm in." And that feels like a world away. Like think of
Honestly.
how much has happened since then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, a pandemic and a whole year has gone by, and now we have a whole cast and 3 seasons, and it's like,
It's crazy. And I remember, so I cast Hayden's father first. He was one of the he will be played by Cameron Morris. I met him at orientation in July 2019 because like I said, I was kind of there scouting out, and then I saw him. We were hanging out. We were pretty close, and I was kind of looking at him. I was like, if we add some gray to you, you could look like a 40-year-old man or something. And so I kind of recognized early on that I probably wasn't gonna find anyone else like that. So do you want to do it? And he's like, yeah. And so, and at that point, I didn't really have a clear vision for what I thought Hayden looked like. And so by casting
I wasn't
Cam, I
like
was like,
floating in your head like,
nope.
ooh.
And by casting Cam, I was like, okay, here's his father. So now I need to cast someone who could be this guy's kid. So I was like, white guy, like brown hair.
Okay. Okay,
So
so we've narrowed down like nobody at USC because that's
honestly,
everybody.
and
But I love that. Also, I
so
love Cam as my dad.
dude, Cam is
He's
so
so
amazing.
suave. I mean, I don't want to hate him, but I'll have to.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that more later. One of the questions I have, I remember I wasn't really, no one was like clicking with me, and I was like doing my scouting. I remember at one point I was thinking about talking to Luke Lawton about the role because he's you know, fits the description, and he's like huge. He's like buff.
Yeah, he's a hunk.
Yeah, if I like saw this guy coming at me in an alley, I would definitely run away. Um, but then I was like, I'm not sure if I want to go with that vibe for Hayden. I kind of want him to be more relatable to everyone, blah blah blah. And so, Thomas, I'm sorry to say you were not cast based on your muscles.
Oh my God, not these? Are you
Nope,
talking about these
sorry.
guns? These licensed to kill guns? Yeah,
No, I
that's okay.
apologize.
I figured.
And I remember sitting in our theater tech studies class, and I was just kind of sitting there thinking, and I looked at, and I knew who you were, but I kind of looked at you. I was like, it's him. That's it. I think that's the day I asked you if you would want to read for it. And then you
And
and Ryan read together, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, we did. And I
And
also
you
feel like with Hayden and like I don't know, classic strongman trope that we see in some protagonists, I think that like there's, as you said, like wanting to be relatable, like a reluctance to greatness, and that like you don't want to draw extra attention to yourself. And I feel like when you're really muscular and confident, you kind of do.
mm-hmm.
Um, so that's how I'm mentally accepting my skinniness. That's how we're gonna do it.
Okay. But yeah, casting. You were also cast fairly early on too. I think there were only a couple of the roles filled at that point. Um, and I'll talk with her about this more next week when she's on the show. But Alyssa as Avery Davis was one of the
Iconic.
last. Absolutely, it was one of the last ones I cast because I just could not find anyone for her that character, and I did, but then I'll talk about it with Alyssa. It's a whole bunch of shit. um, So I thought it was interesting. I cast the title character very early on, and then arguably the second biggest character in the show was not cast until like the end of the process.
And we were all in the exact same class, seeing each other multiple times a week.
Mm-hmm. And no, I'm gonna say this now, so she can't like hit me through the screen or some shit. But I remember there were like 5 roles available, and I was like, okay, no, I'll see which one she would be interested in. And so I sent her like a brief description of each one, including Avery Davis. But I remember fully in my head, I was like, okay, I don't think she's Avery. I don't think she's. There's this one character I think she is, and so it was like, and this wasn't like me bashing her ability or anything, but just kind of like the vibe I kind of got from her. It was this kind of smaller tier character. I was like, I think Alyssa would kill this, but I'll let her choose. And then if she like doesn't do the best on one of these roles, I'll just be like, I think you would fit for this one. So I already had my plan. My plan was made. And then she comes back. She's like, hey, I would be interested in reading for Avery. I was like, oh shit, the big one. Okay, let's do this. And then she fucking killed it. And I was genuinely like, wow, holy shit, it's yours, you know? And I'm glad I did, because she's been fucking killing it and everything we've done with her.
And she's so like sweet and charismatic. There's definitely like an easy friendship relationship between Avery and Hayden that like Thomas and Alyssa would have as well. Like she's just so fun to like be around, and honestly it all worked out for the best.
It did. The main cast is fucking great. Like the Zoom teaser cast, truly. I think that because the Zoom teaser was all improv, and it was great. Everyone was great. For me, the standouts were either Jonathan or Grant.
For me, it's always Tommy. I just have a soft spot. Grant as Tommy. It
was so funny. Like, we record. I remember when we recorded that, in my mind I was like, okay, this is gonna be like a 2 to 3 minute teaser, and then we recorded for like 16 minutes, and I was like, there is way too much material in this to cut it down to 3 minutes. And so I trimmed the fat, and it came out as a 9-minute teaser, but it's hilarious.
The other reason I love the teaser is because you basically like threw out everything that I said. No, hang on. You're like the story. So I think at some point you had sent to me like, oh, it'll be at 6 your time. And I was like, perfect. And so I had made dinner plans to go with my dad at 7. And then I realized with the time zones, I was like, oh shit, the Zoom's at 7. So I like called the restaurant, like move shit. I was like, okay, I'll move all this around. And then with that extra hour in between, I was like, let me do deep dive into some Minnesota history. So I like scour like these different like national like landmarks and like what Minnesota means to people, and like beg and like flag and how they pronounce everything for an hour. Okay. And then we get on the Zoom call, and I go to you, and I was like, so like I've probably been like in Minnesota, right? And I like made up a whole fake thing about like getting my great aunt's like barn. And you were like, well, what if you live with Avery as roommates? And I was like, okay. And then we just never brought up like an hour worth of research that I did. I was like, literally had a notebook in front of me. I was like, bye. Like, we're not going to talk about any of this.
I was unaware that you did that, but I appreciate that.
Of course.
That is hilarious. I did not know that.
I remember being like, I was like, oh, like, do you want me to like be in Minnesota? You're like, what if you're Avery's roommate? And my heart was like, okay, that works. I'll do what you want me to do. Okay, Brandon.
If you would have fully went, hey, I did some research, I'm like, oh shit, cool.
But I didn't want to be like a stick on my ass. It was improv. Like, I knew that we were gonna do whatever we wanted. And I was like, that was just because I had poor time management and needed to fill up my time.
That is so funny. I did not realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess for those, Hayden's from Minnesota.
Yes.
That is so funny. I did not. And I'll ask him about this when he's on here, but I'm pretty sure Jonathan read the script over before.
Oh yeah, I did that as well.
And because I'm reformatting it and everything, and so I was reading it again. And one of his funniest bits, and one of his more intriguing bits was when one he was just talking about Spider-Man and loving Spider-Man, and then the second one when he went into depth about the Huntress character, both of which are pretty much from the script. I think Royce mentions Spider-Man like once in one of the early episodes, and then he's like in the teaser, he's one of the main ones to talk about Huntress, and so I was like, okay, Jonathan did better than me. He read the script. I didn't.
100% though. Royce hit the nail on the head. I remember thinking that as well, being like, okay, I'm glad we're segueing into like talking about something real. Like, we were talking about the Huntress. It was good.
Like, and Royce's character is so fucking funny. This is how awkward he is and everything. It reminds me of like an early high school me. And I guess kind of almost a first semester of college Brandon, because I was still kind of trying to figure things out. And
I feel like we all know a Royce. We all were a Royce. You know what I mean? At some point, like you got to break out of that shell. But I don't know. I just think that like, it's not even innocent. Like, what's the right word? He just plays like endearing so well. Where you're like, you're not gonna like hurt a fly. Like I'd give you my car keys for like I trust you with my life.
How did he explained it some way to me right after the call. I mentioned how his shit killed me. He said, "Thanks. I was going for the awkward and innocent approach."
Definitely innocent. Yeah,
he killed it.
Just playing COD, not the fish game. Not the fish game.
No, thanks, Royce. People call me Royceinator. I don't know if you guys want. So fucking funny. So I guess we don't need to do that question. And what were your like initial thoughts on the Hayden Harvey show when I first approached you?
My initial thought was this guy's crazy. I was like, when you first asked me, I was like, okay, this is now it kind of takes on a different meaning with coronavirus, but I was like, this could be a pipe dream. Like, are we really gonna get like a whole show written? Because at this point, I think you just sent me like a segment of like a character description, and I was like, is a real like a whole show gonna get made? I was almost apprehensive, I'd say. Like I really wanted it to happen and I wanted it to come to fruition, but I was like, didn't want to like get my hopes up and have it not happen. Mm-hmm. So I like was like, okay, like just don't get too attached to Hayden right now. And if it happens, it'll be great. And that kind of helped me transition for Corona to home. But once I read the whole script, I empathize with him a lot. You know, most people in the world have daddy or mommy issues. And so that part was a really easy angled access into him. I have a very tumultuous relationship with my father, and he does as well. Both for like how they treated you and also like the emotional carnage in the years after. So I really empathize with him and also like could understand how he wanted to fit like the perfect college experience, because that's what I feel like I wanted to as well, and you did too. Like going to school last year as a freshman, I was like, I want to do these things. I want to like hook up with people. I want to like go to parties. I want to do all these things because now I'm living on my own. But I think that for him, it was almost like a new chapter where no one knew his baggage, and like he could also create the persona that he wanted to. So that was what I felt. I felt like Hayden was very honest, as well as the rest of the characters, for being, you know, college students. And I felt like it was a good fit. That was a ramble. Oof.
Oh no, that was awesome.
What was the question?
What were your initial thoughts on the show?
Oh my Jesus. I totally didn't answer that.
It's fine. I like that answer. That was
okay, good.
Like, wow. Clark's cool. I don't know. No, for Clark, it's interesting because I am technically playing the same character I played in my previous show. And that show ended with his like kind of crew all getting slaughtered. And so now he's off, new identity, trying to just lay low, kind of hang out, and then he gets roped into Hayden shit. So, and
yeah,
I think
so you want a side of PTSD with your PTSD? Like, do you want a cherry on top?
And he's such in the script, and this didn't really show through in the teaser, but he's such a kind of almost like mysterious character. And in like the first episode when they first meet him, when they ask about his background, he's very like just vague about everything. And I don't know, he's very
Particularly,
I've been
I feel
playing
like
him.
Hayden doesn't judge you for like as roommates.
Mhm.
I like totally understand like why you would not want to, share everything from the start.
Yeah. And I I don't know, I've been playing this character for over 3 years now, and you think I would have a better explanation for him and everything, but I really don't. Like I get it, but I can't put it into words. Like he's almost like a Frank
He's a part of
Castle.
you. Oh,
Yeah.
Frank Castle.
Um and so he's just, and there is a character in the show name of Robin who was briefly mentioned in the teaser, who he had a weird relationship with at some point, but he kind of backed out of it because he just didn't, like, he didn't want her to find out about his baggage and everything. Like he's honestly, he's too scared of getting too close to people anymore after losing those who were closest to him. And I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic between him and the rest of the group, who's very much like, especially Avery, who's very much like inviting and everything, and Clark and Hayden's relationship as their college roommates is going to be very um
It's gonna
interesting.
start out so awkward. I feel like we're
It
gonna see
is.
how Clark and Hayden's like relationship develop because I was fortunate enough to know my roommate going in, but most people I feel like
Mhm.
you're just like, hey, I'm living with you now. It's
Yeah,
good to meet you, and it's horrible probably for like the first week, but you got somewhere to go. Only can go up.
especially with two individuals who are keeping so many secrets.
Exactly. Like we're gonna talk about the weather. Like, am I gonna ask you about where you're from? You're gonna ask me where I'm from, and we're like, you have any food? Like, you want to
Yeah.
talk about that?
Mhm. So it's going to be a very unique dynamic, and I'm very excited for audiences to get to see that. So
Nothing says bonding like emotional baggage with your roommate.
right, you see my oh shit, this just occurred. My roommate, who's kind of a brick wall. It's kind of hard to talk to him about shit. What if he's like, what if all his friends were murdered in high school?
That's the only option I think.
Yeah, that's
That's the
it.
truth.
I'm gonna text him like, hey man, were all your friends murdered in high school? This is why you
God.
never like. This is why you never talk to me about shit. So kind of going back to your casting, did you ever think that you would get tied to a show, a 3-season show, during your first year of college?
No way. I mean, if you told me I had a magic wand, yeah, that would have happened, but I did not plan it. It was definitely surprising and exciting and all those good things. And I think that I'm really like lucky to have met you and the whole cast, and that it's just, I don't know, kind of like a fate of the universe that like we were gonna be not even at the same school in the same class. Like we didn't we could be in different sections. We could have been in different majors, and we weren't. So I think that it happened for a reason, and I'm
Mhm.
gonna stick with it.
Butterfly effect.
Exactly, the butterfly effect.
And so, and what are your kind of your thoughts on being in a 3-season/3-year show?
Um, I don't know what to say beyond excited. I would say for
So I know
3 years, like,
sorry, but I know there's
no,
some
yeah.
actors who are like, and I think I talked to Alyssa and Jonathan about this after we filmed the teaser, but about who are kind of scared to get Daniel Radcliffe and just get tied to a single character. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
yeah.
obviously, I think we talked about this on like the first when during the very informal audition process. But with our filming schedule, we're gonna be super fucking flexible. So it's not like you're tied to this and only this.
That's what I
And
was thinking. The same thing is that like we part of why being in this production with you is so exciting and unique is that there is this flexibility because you are the head of the project and you get to decide like when we film, what we film, all that good jazz. So I think for me, I'm less concerned that like would get in the way or like block a different role. I mean, I'd love to have to pick multiple roles and like have those options. I'm not banking on it. Again, like not that I'm a pessimist, but I have a feeling that a lot of the actors will continue to be struggling in the next few years, and so I'm
Mhm.
really fortunate and looking forward to having 3 years of content to like produce, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
3 years of to produce content, right? Of like making things.
that was kind of my mindset. I mean, obviously, I'm like half actor, director, whatever. But I feel like as an actor, you would almost want to get tied to something like this,
A
just
hundred
so
percent.
there's like something that you're doing. Like I know some like up there actors will complain about, oh, I've been on the show for 10 years. I'm like, dude, that's work for 10 years, man. So many
Yeah,
people would kill for that. And I don't know. I would be definitely if I was in if I wasn't the front runner of the show and making it and everything, I would be very, and this isn't me throwing shade at the actors had to drop out or anything, but I would be very grateful if I was like was able to get attached to a show for the duration of college. So it's like, at least I'm doing something. I don't feel like I'm sitting on my ass the entire time.
100%. And I think that like with projects going forward, actors and directors, like you definitely should pick and seek out things that like you're excited or interesting
Mhm.
in. But I think that as student actors, we really have like no option to say no. Like you just need to get that experience. Like even if you hate what you do or it turns out not what you wanted, like it's you learn from it, right? And so I think that I could not say no to this opportunity. I was like, yes, I want to be in a show. Like that's what I
Gotta
want to do
gotta
with my
build
life.
up your reel and everything.
Exactly.
Because
Build it up.
for me personally, and taking acting classes and everything, was this wasn't as much the case in my second semester, but in my first semester, it almost ruined acting for me because
I know what you mean.
it was so much like, no, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. And I was like, there's so much like form to it now, and it's not as freeing as it once was. And I'm not like an amazing actor, but I do a believable performance and everything. And then my first semester, it was like, so like, nope, you're doing it wrong. That's not how you do it. And I had a conversation with some of my second semester classmates about this, and it's almost like you can't critique how art is made. You can critique the art itself, but you can't really critique the process, you know? Like there's not a right or wrong way to make the art. The art could be shit, or it could be really great, you know? And you could judge the final product, but you can't judge that build up process.
Definitely.
And so second semester kind of revived acting for me. I was like, oh, okay. Because he talked about that and how it could be almost ruin the experience when there's all these rules thrown at it and everything. Um,
Definitely.
oh,
I agree. And also it's like with acting, I think you definitely know who can teach it and who can't.
mhm.
Because like when you're telling someone like, oh, that's not the way you do it, that just like shuts them down and makes them insecure and makes it like more stressful for the next go around. But like if you give them an alternative or like you heighten the stakes and like you know add give them a good action and like something that they can like physically do, I think that like giving an alternative is better than give like shutting them down. You know what I mean? And a lot of professors don't know the difference.
Yeah, definitely. And there was one in that class I did this one scene where it was this teenage kid and he was recording his suicide note on his laptop or whatever. And
Heavy.
so I did it, and I think the reason me and this professor almost butted heads a lot is because I'm definitely more of a screen actor, whereas he was teaching more for stage. And he was like, hey man, you got to speak up. I can't hear you. And for me, I was like, this kid is recording his suicide note. He's not going to be projecting. His microphone is right here, you know?
True.
And so I'm definitely conditioned in the screen acting form. I don't know about you, but so that's kind of the style
We're
I'm used
bringing a good opposite energy. I have 90% theater experience, so we'll bring both sides of the coin to the same project.
to. So I guess we could talk about this now. So you've officially played Hayden 3 times so far. You played him in the very first teaser, you played him in the Elijah short, and then you played him in the Zoom teaser. And I guess you kind of already almost answered this, but um overall, how would you describe him as a character and what do you think he can symbolize for people?
Hmm. I would say. at his core, Hayden Harvey is a survivor. I think it's hard from a young age when you go through trauma in any sense to really like let that go and not let it cloud the rest of your life. So I think whether people are victims of emotional, physical, or sexual abuse, they can empathize with someone who's constantly feels like they have to escape from that, even though it's not actively going on. It just feels like it's a weight around their shoulders. So I would say Hayden Harvey as a character represents perseverance and like shift, not shifting, what's it called, like getting to the muck almost of life, and like picking yourself back up and dusting yourself off and keeping going. So I'd say that what he could symbolize for people is that physical strength is not the same thing as emotional strength, and I think he has both. We'll learn more in the show. I think one was really earned and one was kind of unearned, and so because of that, there's interesting context. And I think he'll provide a symbol of how to live with trauma at its essence.
I feel like, kind of roughing back to the Clark and Hayden talk, Hayden's dealing with his trauma and everything is definitely much more healthy than the way Clark deals with his. Because Clark lives in this state of just not trusting anyone really, and always kind of preparing for the next fight. Because in the previous show, the person who orchestrated the death of his people is still out there, so he's always been on edge, and it's very. I actually cut early on. I cut an alcoholic aspect of Clark out. Like he was going to be a straight up like alcoholic, and there is one episode where we kind of see that as like a party-esque episode, but not to the extent that it was originally going to be. And I feel like they both definitely have their problems and deal with them in their own ways, but I think Hayden's way of dealing with them is much better than Clark's. I think that'll be a very interesting contrast between these two.
But definitely, and as you said, like the Clark's threat is existential. Like it's still out there, right? It still could potentially attack him, and so you have to like be on edge. Whereas Hayden's threat is Hayden's emotional baggage is from his father from a young age and being physically abused. That's part of why he is the person he is today, because of different experiments that were done on him. And when you're the culprit of your pain is in jail, like it's like there's no peace, right? Like there's no repercussions. Like they already happened. You can't go back and undo the changes he made to Hayden's person and psyche and mind. And so I feel like Hayden's at a point more of acceptance and moving on, because like his dad's in jail, like he's an orphan, like there's nothing he can do about it. It's already happened. Whereas Clark, there is something he can do about it and not let it happen again.
So, man, this show is gonna be so fucking cool. That's all I gotta say. And I'm hoping that for the holiday month of December, I wanted to bring in you, Alyssa, and Jonathan to do a massive podcast, because there's a bunch of questions I wrote up that I was gonna ask you all individually. I was like, I'll just save that for the group one. I feel like these are questions that would be better asked like in a group. But yeah, the whole production or I guess pre-production of the show has been a trip.
You can say that again.
I cannot remember if the script was fully written when I auditioned you.
It was not. I got sent a final script afterwards, afterwards, like weeks and weeks afterwards. Because I had like I can look at my email. I had like a working script. It wasn't all 3 seasons. It was I think just season 1.
Okay. Have I sent you season 2?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have it all.
Okay.
No, I don't know if there's a new updated version, but I have one that was like in the PDF.
Okay. I think that there is
1, 2, and 3.
I never sent you 3 because 3 is not done.
I've read 3.
Are you sure?
I'm 100%
Because
sure.
I haven't read 3.
No, I literally in my dream world astral projected, took, a peek into your brain, took out the file of season 3 and then
Okay.
airdropped it to my computer.
Okay.
No,
Make
the first real PDF you sent of Hayden Harvey was season 1, 2, and 3 because I remember like
it
how it
might
ends.
might
The
have been
cliffhanger.
episodes 1 through 8 in season 1 because I'm pretty sure that's all that was done at that point. I think.
Maybe you're right.
Let me pull this because I'm pretty sure because I am.
You're like, it doesn't exist. I'm ready.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know what I could have sent you, because I believe I've only written the first 2 episodes of season 3 so far.
Oh yeah.
And let me tell you, season 3 is going to be bananas.
Yeah, it was season 1 script. You're right. You're totally right. And
Um,
maybe you sent me like a season breakdown that I read because I remember us talking about season 3.
okay, well, that breakdown is not the same
Changed.
anymore
Yeah.
because season is vastly different, and this is like years down the pipe, so it's I guess all I can really say about it now is the events of season 3 are very much inspired by our current pandemic. I will just say that.
Mm,
So I haven't sent you
spicy.
season 2 yet, have I?
Send it all over.
Okay, because I just recently got done formatting season 1 to a more script-like format. And so I'll probably do that for season 2. I kind of file down the edges and I'll send it over because I'm honestly so far no, actually I can't. It's hard to pick a favorite. I think
Mm,
season 1 is so good for like its introductions of
an
characters and how,
exposition. Yeah.
yeah. And then season 2, I will say I had much more fun writing season 2 because it was less, okay, I have to establish these characters, I have to establish this, blah blah blah. And it was more,
You're
okay,
just
everything's
playing off each other.
established. It's time to play. Yeah. So season 2 is about a good chunk longer than season 1, I'd say. And I literally can't get into it because it deals with elements directly from season 1 that would be just spoiler territory.
What
So
is the biggest piece of hot gossip you can give our viewers about what's coming their way
in season 2 of a show that's
in
not even
any in
out yet,
anything?
and anything.
What can we gossip about? The juice of the show.
Um, Let me see. Um, that's a hard question. Um,
Yeah, you've been asking me questions. Now I can ask you a question.
I know. Fuck,
I'll put
I'm
you on
not
the
used to
spot.
this. Okay. Okay, I got to get right here. It is. I can give. It is currently, and this isn't the hot gossip or anything. It is currently 162 pages long, so it's a bit longer than when you last saw it. And I guess what I can say, and I guess we alluded to this in the Zoom teaser, but the absolutely not normal life that we were referring to with Hayden is the fact that himself and other members of his group, including myself, are being targeted for some unknown reason by the Huntress, and that is the main conflict of season 1.
Who
Um,
is the Huntress?
that's a character. No, I guess I could just talk about what we kind of mentioned in the teaser, where the Huntress is a vigilante on USC's campus who kind of protects women from getting sexually harassed and everything. And I'm not saying Hayden harasses anyone, but for whatever reason, he's been targeted. Um, and so
Let's just
that's
say the safety and security of USC students are at risk.
yes. And so Hayden Harvey's the story about a villain. No, but
Yes. I
so
kill
that
everybody.
it'll be it'll be it's going to be really interesting to see this play out because I would argue, I mean, I'm the fucking writer, but I would argue that neither of these characters are inherently bad. It's just something has come up causing them to really butt heads. and so it's going to be a very interesting dynamic. And the Huntress is actually going to be having a spin-off, not series. It's going to be like maybe the equivalent of 2 Hayden Harvey episodes will be the duration of her spin-off.
A
But then
mini series.
yes, and so we'll get to kind of see more of her and what's her deal, you know?
The Huntress is bad fucking ass. That is her
Absolutely.
deal.
Yeah, the Huntress is to be played by Zoe Mihal, who is
No one else could
also
play the Huntress.
absolutely not. I met
She
her.
scares me.
Yo, she scares me too. So I met her in the Trojan Stunt Team, which is a kind of a fight choreography club at USC, which you went to a couple of practices.
Yes, yeah, I did. I was
It
gonna
was
say we had some
fun.
stunt time.
And so I met her there on the first day. And as I said before, I was like scouting like until the casting was done. And so I saw her. I was like, this chick would fucking kill it as actress. Because I first
Yeah,
met her, I was like legitimately intimidated.
yeah, agreed.
However, that intimidation died when like I got her Instagram, and like her username is not in the mood for your pottery. I'm like, okay,
I didn't even know
this chick's weird. I don't know.
that.
I don't have
Now she's gonna
shit to
come
do.
and beat you up. Now Alyssa and Zoe are gonna come to your door and beat you up. We're talking
Oh,
shit about them in the Zoom.
you're right. Yeah. You hear, and then my door kicks in.
Don't
So
test her.
yeah, Zoe will be playing the Huntress,
She
and
what?
he is also in charge of makeup and costume design. So she's like me, kind of has a couple roles in this show. But like she is
You know what?
currently. Oh, you can go. You can go.
I was just gonna say. I just realized this show gives me the boys goes to university, goes to college. That's what the show gives me. Do you know? Do you understand like what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. I
Thank you.
fucking love The Boys. It's such a good
I
show.
know we were talking about it a while ago, but that's what this gives me is that,
Mm,
but like college, like before the boys were the boys.
mm-hmm. And the I guess the comedy of this show is, and I'm not trying to like jack myself off or anything, but this script is funny. We had the Zoom table read like in May, and I remember like I think I wrote these lines, some of these lines. I was like, yeah, it's funny, I guess. But then like hearing them out loud, I was dying. Like it felt like completely new material. Mostly Royce's stuff, I think, because like I wrote his character in such an awkward manner, and then he just
He sells
captures
it.
that completely.
Yeah.
Um, and actually, I'd say we're not crude, but we're also not scared of a dick joke, you know?
Oh, definitely.
Um, what what could I? What's something we can compare the humor to this show to?
Mm. Um. Okay, this is stupid because it's not like a direct comparison, but it kind of gives me similar essence of having a show centered around like something really serious, like assault and like or something like that, and how people get protected from that, and then like livening it up with dialogue kind of gives me American Horror Story vibes, where like you have a really like
Mm,
serious, seasoned subject matter, but
yeah,
then like the episodes are funny.
yeah.
So like those, there might be death, there might be violence, but you'll probably laugh while it's happening. So that's better than nothing.
It's it's a good balance, I feel. Like the comedy
Life is
never.
a dramedy. Life is a dramedy.
This is
Comedy,
true.
comedy meets drama. You got to do both.
Like there's never. I feel like I don't think there's ever really a point where the comedy felt forced. You know, at least from
Agreed. Because
memory.
it's all like conversational.
Hmm. I think some of the best comedy comes from Hayden and Avery's relationship, because those two characters have known each other since elementary school,
Yeah.
so they're not afraid to bust each other's balls and everything, and it's just so funny to watch. But easily the comic relief of the entire show is Tommy Cooper.
I was just gonna say Tommy. It's Tommy. The show is Tommy.
And Grant, he is not an actor. He is a school of music major. And I remember when I met him,
He's not an actor. He's a star.
Do you want to know something really funny that I just remembered? I don't even think I ever told him this.
Yeah, what?
I fully knew he was a music major and everything when because he on the USC housing app, we all got assigned to the same suite.
Oh, I forgot you lived here. Jeez. Yeah.
He reached out to everyone on Instagram, made a group chat for our little suite. I was like, oh wow, cool, way to go, Grant, you. And then I kind of looked at his Instagram. He was like, who am I dealing with here? And I kind of looked at him in the one picture. For whatever, he just looks huge.
Oh,
And I'm
Jack.
yeah. And I was like, and it was just a passing thought. I was like, I know he's a music major, but could this guy play Hayden Harvey? And that thought was kind of in the back of my head until I met him. And I realized he was extremely short. I was like, okay, no, you can't. I apologize, man.
Brandon, we're cutting that. You can't expose Grant like that. But then I realized he was extremely short.
Well, he's not extremely short. He wasn't the shortest person in the suite, but he definitely wasn't well, I don't even know where he is comparatively to me. But I kind of already knew Clark was gonna be a bigger character in the show. I didn't really fully know the extent of his character yet, but I knew having these two characters stand next to each other and kind of what Hayden is as a character, I was like, this just won't work. And so that thought quickly vanished. And then it wasn't until I got to know him, I was like, holy shit, this guy, he's literally just Tommy. He doesn't have to act at all. And so I talked to him about it. He's like, he was so excited to do it. And then anytime we've filmed with him, he's just been ecstatic. You and him are the only actors to appear in all three. No, it's the three of us, actually. I lied. And all three USC kind of productions as of so far, because we were all in the initial teaser.
We did Elijah.
Mm-hmm. I showed up via after credit scene, and then we were all in the Zoom teaser. Alyssa, Alyssa and Ryan are tied for appearances so far, and then the Zoom teaser was Jonathan's debut.
And he killed it.
No, he's dead.
Oh, no, he is dead. But I said he killed it.
Sure. So I guess, I had an interesting. So filming, just media overs on an online.
I thought the exact same thing.
Is so fucking weird. And I'll talk to her more about this when she's on next week. But Alyssa actually had a cameo in DKs. She showed up in the after credit scene as the sister to the main antagonist, and it was so interesting to shoot that because we shot our side of it first, and then we kind of sent over all of that to her, and then she had to shoot the rest of it on her own. And literally and I only know this because I was present in the main room, but because she shot her scenes in her bedroom or whatever, and just kind of looking at her bedroom and looking at the warehouse where we shot the scene, I was like, this is so fucking different.
Yeah.
And I was almost worried people were gonna be like, wait a minute, these people aren't even in the same room. But I had so many people yo, who the hell's that? When was she down here? I was like, oh, she's the other week. We shot this.
That's awesome. And
so it's interesting to have this online media thing, because literally the Zoom teaser would have never happened if it wasn't for COVID.
True. Also, we would have had probably an in-person table read, the Zoom in May wouldn't have happened either.
And it's so interesting to think about how this is changing. The world has changed now, and are we ever able going to get to go back to how things were in the first year of college?
Yeah, I think about that too. I think in some sense time heals all wounds, and we'll have a new normal and just get used to it. But I totally agree. It's something to we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Think about.
In preparation for DKs, I rewatched the good seasons of The Walking Dead, and scenes where they'd be like talking about the old days and everything. I was like, fuck, that's us now.
Yeah, seriously. Or like I'll be watching a show now with my roommates, and like there'll be a party scene, and we're like, nah, I couldn't happen because of COVID. Like like you always do that now.
And like I was watching a movie from like the 1950s for my cinema class, and they seemed like they hugged her. I was like, and in my head, I was like, oh, you can't do that. I was like, yes, they can. They don't have to worry about this shit. And so my brain is like
Hardwired now.
now to like hugging. No, can't do that. Handshakes, no. It's so weird. And I remember this. I mean, it still sucks, but like it really fucking sucked in the beginning. But then,
Agreed.
kind of like you said, it's the new normal.
Yeah. And I
Like
was saying, like, we have to adapt. We get like it's nice that we can all be in separate states, separate locations, and like have a table read, shoot a trailer on Zoom. Um, but like I don't know, it kind of takes away like the in-person spark
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, or at least like we're doing something. Did you see like they did some play, like a table read version of it, and they posted it? It was like Morgan Freeman was the like narrator, and it was like all these like
Oh,
actresses and actors that like Jennifer Aniston. Anyway, everyone was like doing a table read of this play or whatever they were doing. It was good. It was like a regular table read, but the only person who fucking balls to the wall committed was Shia LaBeouf, and he
of
like
course.
his character, like apparently they were playing, like the play was set in high school, and his character was like the troublemaker, like stoner guy that was always late. And so he like fully came to the Zoom like cross, like smoking a joint, and then like was just so committed and like sweating and like come on man, and like everybody else was like doing their reading and like laughing at him because he was so fun to watch. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that like on Zoom when you see someone like commit to it as they would in person, like you're like, okay, that is what like makes it worth it.
Yeah, definitely. And we had to do like for our second semester acting class, we had to do like monologues over Zoom or whatever. And he
Mm.
said it wasn't mandatory, but we could add movements to it and everything. And I know it like acting over Zoom really fucked a lot of people up. But for me, I just saw it as like another camera, and that's what I'm used to, you know? So it's okay, this is business as usual. And so I kind of, I set up my angles and everything, had my scene ready, and I did my shit. And I didn't feel weird doing it because acting on camera is what I'm used to. And
And in
it,
the same sense, like self tapes are a skill. Like
mhm,
we have to know that
definitely.
how to do that effectively.
And this, like, definitely the online platform isn't preferred, but it's like we can work with it at least, you know? Um, like, and I guess we could talk about this as soon as I quit recording, but there's something I might approach you about recording something and sending it in for something I'm working on
Yeah,
in
definitely.
regards to Hayden Harvey. So, but yeah, I think about wrapping up here, I just have one final question. What are your expectations for this show?
Hmm.
Like either be like filming or like public awareness.
I expect different things for different segments. So for production, I expect it to be a lot of hard work, and I'm sure we're going to be shooting really late into the night. But I also feel like it's going to be really fun, and we're like, gonna like be wired on Red Bull and coffee and having fun together. So that's what I expect for the production. All the editing's on your shoulders, so thank God I don't have to get involved with that. But post production, when it's released, I expect hype. I want to hype it up.
Mhm.
I'm making it a TikTok reappearance this weekend,
Ooh.
so I'm trying to like. I had like a very very small following on that I'm trying to like build up now because it's just like that's what you can do. And honestly, like that's probably in the future why I would get cast for something because like your like social notoriety and like number of
Mhm.
followers like literally how people get cast now. So I would like to like build that base up, and by the time that Hayden's fully done and the season is released, I would like to promote it on that and have it like blow up. That'd be the
Yeah,
ideal world.
because I think this show definitely has so much potential to be huge. It's
Agreed.
to my understanding, I don't think there's really ever been anything done like this at our school. At least I don't think so. Like there hasn't been like a long running show
I said nothing to
based,
this scale.
yeah,
It's
based
not
at
like
USC.
That's not like Trojan Talks or whatever, like the news anchor thing.
Mm-hmm. And like for me, I'm a big fan of just series in general because I feel like there isn't ample amount of time to really get to know a character in just one movie, you know? And I as a viewer, I really like being able to see these characters grow over time. So like when I watch shows where it's like like the Simpsons method of like the character just doing the same dumb shit every episode and not really growing, that's when I kind of check out because I like to see that growth and how these characters change and evolve over time. And so that's why I opted to have this be a series, because I know I had talks with Grant at some point where he's like, we should just do this as a movie. I'm like, we could, but I think it'd be more consumable, cut up into chunks, you know?
Agreed. And I think even more consumable promoting it with even smaller chunks. Like I
Mhm.
think that like if we can cut down like the bits of like the comedy and like post like literally less than 10 seconds on TikTok, like that's what's gonna gain the notoriety because we have such a short attention span. Like people aren't gonna watch a whole 20-minute episode. Like they're just
Yeah.
they have a 2-second attention span. So you have to like
Mhm.
catch it really quick.
Yeah. So maybe at some point in the future we could have like a meeting of like advertisement and everything.
100%. Yeah.
Um,
You have my 32K something at your disposal.
hell yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone has their own like decent followings on like Instagram and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
we could really use that to promote this show.
Yeah.
And I get it's like not it's like not a double-edged sword, but it's like by hyping up this show, not only is like my channel also getting hyped up, but like you guys as actors and everything.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like it's beneficial for all parties, really.
Well, we're making it because we want it to be consumed. We want it to be
Mhm.
watched. Like I want it to reach as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had a question for you. This is totally literally not on Hayden Harvey at all. Have you seen Euphoria?
Not yet. It's literally like I you know what? It's midterm
That's your
season.
homework
My
because
homework. Okay.
that show I've seen 3 times through now, and I cry every time. It is so beautifully done. But the reason why I wanted to talk to you about it, we can talk about it once you see it, is the lighting design. It is the most well
Okay.
designed show I've ever
I
seen.
have seen that. I like
Yeah,
the
like,
clips and everything.
and the lighting and sound design just like hits different, and it
Mhm.
is so beautiful. And they like really don't give a fuck about like tradition. And so like
Mhm.
they'll have a scene where like Rue's like investigating if her friend is like sleeping with somebody, and like they'll like let her be a detective and like have a whole like detective skit. Do you know what I mean? Where
Mhm.
like they understand, like they're acknowledging that like they're in a show, but they're not like totally breaking. They're not breaking character. They're like playing
Yeah.
a character within a character. If that makes sense. And it's so funny and just like and like how they change the lighting, and I love it. And I want you to watch all 8 episodes before we film.
It's funny how you mentioned lighting when recently I was able to get these, which are studio lights. So
Woo!
production is set up. I also have different um slides for different colors and everything. Cause I also want this to be visually pleasing, you know?
Agreed.
I just don't want it to be a bunch of fuckers just sitting in a college dorm bullshitting around. Like,
But that was the last part I wanted to say about
yeah.
Euphoria, Sean's lights, is that it really, I think, represents high school drama accurately to some extent of like drug use and like sexual promiscuity and stuff like that. And so I think that if we just understand that as like having already been published and like been so related to as an 8 episode series, now that we're going to be an 8 episode series, just like taking note of like, okay, this worked for them. Like the having cool new music like really worked for them. Like that
Mhm.
is part of why they blew up. They had amazing like score from Labyrinth, and part of it is like having Zendaya, and part of it is having a great lighting design and costume design and like story.
Mhm.
But I think that to me set a new trend for how high school will be depicted. Of
Mhm.
like some high schoolers might do Molly, some high schoolers are probably having sex, boys and girls. Like it's that just happens. Like that's a
Oh yeah.
factor of life. But then for college, of like what we can or can't include or allude to in Hayden Harvey of like the real shit they would be pulling kind of outside of the plot of like the like what's like the vigilante like huntress stuff going on of like
Mhm.
okay if they were at college like partying right now and like existing with each other? Like, what would they want to be doing?
Yeah, and I think we actually have a good balance of that because
Agreed.
Hunter's
But
he's
I
not.
don't want the party scene cut. That is my one request. I want the party scene so bad.
I am going to try my damnedest to make sure that it doesn't. It'll be
Okay.
like, say we film in spring, it'll be very hard to shoot that because
Yeah.
I like it. I love the party episode because of other elements we can't really talk about on this right now, but it's just so good and it kind of shows the human side of everyone. And
Definitely.
because at that there is kind of like a I could talk about this. And if I don't like it later, I
Yeah.
can cut. There is kind of like a break from the Huntress about halfway through the season, where they're like, okay, now let's do college shit, and that was one of my favorite episodes to write in season 1. It's so funny, and the table read we did for it was great, and I
It just
really
also would so happen. Like Avery would so
Mhm.
throw a birthday party for Hayden and then he would hate. Like
um and I've like literally after writing it, I was like, okay, how are we gonna shoot this? And like I fully know how we're gonna shoot it. And it's going to be completely like eerie and almost awkward. Because what we're gonna do is obviously for a party scene gotta have a lot of people there. We're literally going to have everyone be silent except those who are speaking in the scene.
oh my god.
And so we're gonna have everyone like doing like the mouth, like if you mouth pineapple over and over, like you're actually talking. Have,
Yeah.
have people doing that, and then we're gonna record all the lines with like the main characters and everything, and then for like 5 minutes straight, we'll just have everyone just talk and dick around, and then I'll add that in over everything else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's going to be so hard to capture audio from people while there's all that background noise and everything.
And also like what's the song like the sound for that will be interesting, but like the song in the background and the people in the background, like it's so much to think about.
I'll probably I don't know. So I guess kind of going back talking about music and everything. As of right now, it sounds like my good buddy Alex Shaw will be doing the score for the show.
Sick.
We will have an original score, and he knows, and I know quite a few musicians and everything, and songwriters and whatnot. So I'll probably talk to one of them, see if we can't use one of their songs for that, so we could also promote USC musicians and everything in that episode. And it's just gonna be cool. I'm really excited for the show.
We should use I'm friends with them. Tommy and I were talking about it. He did like produce their concert series, but Tippy and Ellie Williams, we should
Yeah,
have their original music in the show. That'd be sick. Because then like they could promote it, we could promote it, and all that
yeah,
stuff.
because you have like those two, Maddie, Cordelia.
There's so many.
Yeah, it's like insane. And so I don't know, we'll find out. We have time to figure that out, you know.
Yeah, we do.
So
All
hopefully
right,
we will be shooting. Um,
we
Jan-
will. Don't say hopefully. When we shoot,
I know we're shooting, but hopefully we could be shooting when we can go back in the spring.
agreed.
I'll tell you this now, it is going to be fucking crazy. It's going to be stressful as shit, and we're going to be going hard for like. Obviously, I'm not like skip class for filming. Like when you're not in class, we might just.
I'll skip cast regularly.
And so it's going to be insane filming process, but I am so excited. The cast is amazing, and it's going to be so fucking cool to see everyone mesh and bring these characters to life in this show.
And I'm so
Um,
excited that we have a head on our body that knows where we're going. Thank you for being a great director and creator and all that jazz.
oh shucks, you.
Oh, I know you.
So yeah, I'm all out of questions. Do you have anything left for me?
What's your favorite color? I didn't answer that. No, oh, I watched the Zoom teaser and I realized I never answered that question. Black is my favorite color.
Honest to God, like, I guess we can also talk about this. I know this podcast is like going over right now, but each character has been assigned a color that they will wear throughout the duration of the show.
Yeah,
Clark's is red, Avery's is blue, Royce's is green, yours is black. Tommy's is white, which is why he brought out the shirt. I'm gonna wear this for the rest of my life. And I think me and Grant talked about that.
I love. Here's this is my favorite type of mustard or whatever. Dijon.
And I think Grant
So
and
good.
we talked about this. We think that shirt's gonna be his wardrobe for the entire show.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Like he never changed. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but yeah, everyone has their own color. And so
I'd love for that to be his wardrobe, but he always has like a different hat on. Like you're like, how are you not changing your shirt? But you're wearing like a different hat. Like what?
the helmet and the COVID proof
Yes.
helmet. That was so fucking funny.
Iconic.
So Clark said his favorite color is red. I would probably say my favorite color is like burgundy. I don't know.
Mm.
That was what my senior year prom suit was. It was all burgundy.
Oozing sex appeal.
Yeah, I guess out of questions. So
All right, Mia Moore, it was great to see your face.
yours too. Thanks for being on the show. Hope to see you soon with the others.
Definitely.
And thank you all for listening. Hope to see you on the next one.
Peace, everybody.